Being a young leader is really hard, especially when the people that you're leading in your project team have a lot more experience than you. As a young leader, the first thing you want to do is come in and prove yourself. Show them that you belong there, show them that you know what you're doing. But the thing is, trying to gain respect as a leader really has very little to do with how much experience you have or how much time you have in the field. It has so much more to do with how you show up. And the thing is, you're never going to be able to control how others perceive you. All you can do is start earning credibility and respect through how you show up. What do I mean by that? Let's talk about it. First off, as a new leader or young leader, you want to show up as someone who is prepared and willing to do the work, because that is step number one in gaining your project team's trust. I think one of my favorite phrases that I say all the time is, I don't have an ego. I'll take care of what needs to happen on this project to make sure that it's successful. Sometimes that means getting into a spreadsheet and fixing something minor so that it can go out the door. If it's something that's urgent and that I know it needs to happen to make sure that we're successful, I'm going to show my project team that I'm there with them, ready to get my hands dirty so that we can deliver a project successfully. Because I want them to feel like they can trust me to be with them to deliver that project. But at the same time, being transparent when I don't understand or I don't know something, but I let them know that I'm willing to go out there and find the answer, will show your team, again, how reliable you are. And that reliability, showing up in a way that shows that you're prepared and you're willing to do anything to help the team, is going to turn into trust. It's going to turn in them seeing you as a leader. So do you need 20 years of experience to demonstrate to someone that you're reliable? No, you don't. That's a skill that you can automatically come to the table with. Number 2, as a young leader, it is very easy to show up a little bit insecure, to show up with a little bit of a question in your voice. But my biggest advice is to try really hard to practice to speak like a leader and not like a student, especially when you're young and you still feel like you're learning more than anyone is, and you feel like a student more than anyone is. You'll potentially come with that energy in your communication. So you have to actively and intentionally think about switching to a more leadership authority type of communication. Younger leaders just often minimize themselves because they do feel like that student still. And that looks like apologizing for speaking up or stating your opinion, using uncertain language, or almost waiting for permission to do something or to contribute to something. So obviously, speaking like a leader and a communication style develops and becomes a lot stronger the more you practice it, the more experience you have. But as a young leader, there are many actions you can do now to start sounding more like a leader. By removing words like, just wondering if I could ask blah, 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 versus just saying something like, could you clarify this point for me? And then practicing how to speak directly and clearly even when you're nervous. How to maintain yourself grounded and regulated emotionally even when you're nervous. That is such a major skill, because you can be genuine and know that you're nervous, but still speak with authority and be intentional with your words. And when you have questions, because as a young leader, you'll have a lot of questions. I hope you have all the questions, and I hope you ask all those questions and are not afraid to sound dumb. But when you do ask those questions, frame them with a lot of confidence and not hesitation. Something like, can you walk me through this process? Versus, sorry, I think I missed this. Would you mind walking me through this again? And even in your voice, you can hear how you shrink your voice a little bit, how you make yourself sound a little bit younger, because you don't have the confidence yet to speak like a leader and just ask the question matter-of-factly, because that's the information that you need in order to lead that team. It's interesting how people listen to your tone before they listen to your message. So as a young leader, speak like you belong, because you do. You're in that role for a reason. So embrace it. Number 3, listen before you lead. Especially as a young leader, it's very easy to try to overcompensate and try to speak over your subject matter experts and to provide direction without listening to your subject matter experts. Your team will not only respect you, but they will also start trusting you as a leader because they can see how much you care about the knowledge and experience that they have. So always come in with questions asking them what has worked well, what hasn't. Invite them to provide you feedback when you have to make those big decisions as a project manager. And demonstrate to them that you heard them. If you integrated their feedback, they'll see it in your decisions. But if you made a decision that didn't integrate their feedback or their advice, let them know why. Why did you go a different direction? That goes back to the transparency thing. In my experience, a lot of the experienced teams who have young project managers, they want to see those project managers succeed. And they know that you don't know everything. But what they are expecting from you is for you to care, to want to learn. Number 4, and this is something that I struggled with a lot, is try to not care about being liked by everyone. Try instead to be fair and to be consistent. As a young leader, this is one of the biggest traps that you can fall into, is wanting to be liked by your project team, by your clients, by your stakeholders. But as a project manager, unfortunately, you're going to make decisions that not everyone likes. And that's something that you're just going to have to be okay with. I like to be transparent and tell the person who's not going to like this decision why it's happening, why we're moving forward with this decision. And usually I provide a lot of empathy where I understand their point of view and I understand where they're coming from, but this is the best decision for the project. Sometimes, unfortunately, that leads to someone maybe not liking me. But hopefully they still respect me as a leader, because those are the decisions that you're going to have to make. So some advice that I've learned throughout my years around that is to make sure you set boundaries early on, especially around accountability, ensuring that your team knows that you expect them to deliver on time, that you expect them to go through quality reviews, and that you have high standards for their deliverables. And as much as you're really building those relationships with your project team, you want to make sure that you're consistent and fair with everyone. That'll build respect much faster than being friends with everyone in your project team. Okay, last one. Own your role, even when you don't feel ready, even when you have a ton of imposter syndrome. That is still your role. So embrace it and show up as the leader that maybe you're not right now, but that you will be. As a younger leader, you might want to learn before you feel confident, right? You might want to know how to do the job before you feel confident doing the job. I mean, that's kind of the definition of confidence. Once you feel competent in the role, then you gain that confidence as a project leader. But once you're given the role as a project manager or a leader in any space, that role means that you now have authority, even before maybe you feel fully comfortable. So obviously, confidence shows in your communication style and the way that you show up and your posture. All of those are very obvious ways of showing confidence. But other ways will require more subtle ways of you showing your confidence. For example, when you have to make decisions with only 80% of the information, and you have to practice not freezing up and making those decisions without the full picture. Other ways of showing that subtle confidence that your project team is going to need to see from you is being able to have an opinion, being able to share your perspective on how a project should move forward. Because project teams do look to their project managers to provide them their opinion, to provide them their perspective. And sometimes as a project leader, we fall into the trap of asking, okay, what does my subject matter expert say? What does my client want? And not being able to form an opinion or perspective of our own because we're following what these other experienced people go because we don't trust ourselves yet. So owning your role and feeling confident in it or comfortable in it is probably one of the first steps that you'll take in order to have your project team not only see you as a leader, but start treating you like one. All right, that's it. I hope you enjoyed this video and I'll see you on the next one. Bye, everyone.